Hello dear viewers and students. Today we are going through a very interesting presentation. It's about methods of teaching English language. My affiliation is with College of Basic Education, Department of English, University of Babylon. My name is Bashar, Saleem. My title is Assistant Lecturer, and I will be presenting these methods of teaching English language presentation today. So today, before we dive into this lecture, we just have to focus or to overview the teaching and what it is meant. So teaching is regarded as both an art and science. If we talk about it as an art, it lays stress on the imaginative and artistic abilities of the teacher in creating a worthwhile situation in the classroom to enable students to learn. If we focus as teaching, if we look at it as a science, then it sheds light on the logical, mechanical, and procedural steps to be followed to attain an effective achievement of goals. So here, before we actually dive into the methods of teaching, we have to shed light on what the teaching itself means. That's how we looked at it as both science as an art. If we look at the methods of teaching, so we have several methods that we will talk about each one individually in brief. So the first one, we have the grammar translation method. Sometimes it's called the traditional method of teaching. In grammar translation classes, students learn grammatical rules and then apply these rules by translating sentences between the target language and the native language. It focuses on reading and writing, but not on listening and speaking. So here in this method, students will translate the grammatical rules as they go through their classes. And then when they apply these rules, by translating the sentences from the native language and to the target language. This method will focus on reading and writing because it's going to go through reading and translation, so of course it's not going to be focused on listening or speaking. We have the teacher's role in this method. Teachers will teach the grammar to the students by giving also examples, and then the students' role here, they will translate literary extracts from the target language into the mother tongue language. So they will translate these text from the target language, which is English for this example, to the mother language, which is Arabic. And the main focus of this method is by translating literary extracts, which means it focuses on literature. That's what literary extracts means. So they are focusing on pieces from literature works, for example, like drama, poetry, or short stories. This is what covers the translation method or grammar translation method, and that's why we also call it traditional method, because it was well known for so long. Now we have the second method, which is the direct method or the natural method. This method intends that students learn how to communicate in the target language. The initial task of the teacher is to provide comprehensible input, and it focuses on listening and speaking and ignores reading and writing. So this method is quite the opposite of the first one. First, the grammar translation method, if you remember, we just mentioned briefly ago that it focuses on reading and writing but not listening or speaking. This method, the direct method, it's quite the opposite. It focuses on listening and speaking, and it ignores reading and writing. The direct method here, or the natural method, they compare this method to the first few years of the infants or the children as they grow up. So when we have the kids or babies at the age of 1 or 2, before they are able to speak their first word, they are actually going through a natural method, which is they are listening to their parents. They are listening to these words that are thrown at them. So that's why they call it the direct method. or natural method. And then students will be somehow similar to these babies. They are listening to the direct method thrown at them by the teachers, and then by listening to them for a so long or a certain period of time, they would be able to produce their first words in English. That's why it's called the natural method. The teacher's role in this method, the teacher will direct the class activities. He or she keeps the level of participation of all students high by asking them questions and encouraging them to self-correct when they make a mistake. So the teacher's role here is very critical, is very important, because the teacher will be giving the students the chance to self-correct themselves when the students is mistakenly produce a not correct sentence. So the teachers will present them the opportunity to self-correct themselves, and this is how, when the direct method or the natural method comes in very handy, or it comes very useful, because by listening to the teacher, they would be able to know where they made their mistake, and they have also the courage thrown at them by the teacher to self-correct themselves. And then we have the student's role. The students will observe the target language used by the teacher and then try to get the meaning based on the demonstration given. So the student's role here is not only listening, but actually observing the target language thrown by the teacher. This is how they will be able to demonstrate what have been taught by the teacher, and then they will be able to correct themselves. Now we go to the third method, which is the audiolingual method. This method advised that students be taught a language directly, without using the student's native language to explain new words or grammar in the target language. It focuses on listening and speaking and ignores reading and writing. It focuses on the form of the sentence and not only on vocabulary. So this method, if we are remembering very well, the direct method, the natural method that we just spoke about it a few minutes ago, you will find similarity between this method and the previous one, because both are focusing on listening and speaking, but not so much on reading and writing. So one of you might ask, what is the difference then if these are similar to each other? So the difference here, the direct method or the natural method, it focuses on teaching vocabulary. So when the students is listening to the direct method, they will be learning vocabulary. They are learning new words. For example, if the teacher was mentioning blackboard, or is mentioning computer, or is mentioning a book or a desk, so that's how or what they are learning, the students. But with the audiolingual method, the focus will be on the sentence, on the form of the sentence itself, but not only on the vocabularies. So they are learning the pronunciation, the grammar, the vocabulary. So they are learning the whole form of the sentence. This is why the audiolingual method is very useful, is very important, because it focuses on the whole production of the sentence, not just on singular words. With the teacher's role in this method, they control the language used in the classroom. Moreover, he or she is both the model of the language and the person who will prevent learners from forming bad habits because of errors. So the teacher's role is very critical as well, because as they give the examples to the students, they have to monitor, they have to watch their students when they produce their English. Because if they do not correct the mistakes, then they will become bad habits. And habits means they are going to be repeated more and more. And then if we go to the student's role, they are the ones who have to follow and fulfill the teacher's order. They are responsible for both imitating the teacher's modeling and overlearning the language skills and language compliance. So we have other materials to go through. We have also the total physical response and the silent method. And as we will continue on progress through this episode of teaching, then we will be focusing more and more about these methods. For now, it concludes this our presentation, and I do feel so happy, and then thank you so much for actually listening to me, and I hope to see you very soon. Thank you and goodbye.